Hello, I'm Regina Mitchell. I'm the Acting Director of the Division of Small Business. Many of you have received updated communication from our office regarding reporting for the Delaware Relief Grants, and I want to take a few minutes to walk you through the changes and important information in the letter you received. Businesses will have until November 4th to submit any missing reporting components, but this will be the last opportunity to submit documents. So please make sure you understand what is required and reach out to our office if you have any questions. First, let's touch on the revenue requirements. In order to qualify for a relief grant, your business needs to show a decline in revenue from 2019 to 2020. You need to provide a complete 2020 tax return in order to verify your revenue. If you are unable to provide your tax return, you can now provide a certification from a licensed CPA, which adequately documents your revenue for the year. These must show quarterly changes and actual revenue numbers. So the certification would need to say something along the lines of revenue for quarter 1, 2020 was X. Revenue for quarter 2, 2020 was X, and so on. If you are unable to show a decline in revenue year over year, you can provide a CPA certification that your revenue declined 25% in one quarter, meaning, for example, quarter 2, 2020, as compared to quarter 2, 2019. This should also include the actual revenue numbers. So again, quarter 2, 2020 revenue was X, and quarter 2, 2019 revenue was X. On the expense side, we have made a few changes in order to be as flexible as possible for Delaware small businesses. First, we have expanded the scope of allowable expenses. So your initial grant was limited to those expenses listed out in Exhibit A of your grant agreement. You may now include any expense that is allowable under the federal and state guidelines for CARES Act funding. There is more information about that guidance on our website at business.delaware.gov/relief. You can also look at Exhibit A of your grant agreement, which lists out most of the allowable expense categories. So if you are only approved for, say, PPE expenses, you can now submit for any of the other expenses listed there. The next change for expense reporting is that we are now allowing businesses to submit a signed affidavit in the event that expense documentation is missing. For any expense, businesses are required to submit both the invoice or receipt showing that it was eligible and within the time period, as well as proof of payment for that expense. If you are missing one side of that equation, you should include the expense on the affidavit. So for example, if you can show an invoice, but you paid cash and cannot show proof of payment, or if you have expenses that are automatically withdrawn from your bank account, so you don't have corresponding invoices, those missing documents can now be covered by the affidavit. If you have gotten feedback on your submission that it was not sufficient for reporting, and you are thinking to yourself, well, that is all the documentation I have for that expense, then you should include it on the affidavit. This is the last opportunity for businesses to finalize their reporting. So please log into your portal and review what you have submitted. You will now be able to view the assessment report and see line by line what has been accepted or not accepted and what amount of your total grant still needs to be reconciled. Make sure your revenue decline is appropriately documented. Make sure you have both the invoice and the proof of payment for all of your expenses, or that you have uploaded the affidavit and listed out anything that is missing. We at the division will do our best to assist you with coming into compliance with your grant agreement. Please read your letters carefully and reach out to us if you have any further questions.